much for coming. We are going to keep it going. We're just going to talk about what's going on in crypto and NFTs this week. But if you need to drop off, totally understand. I know it's been a busy week for everybody, but I do want to thank you again for coming.
Yeah, no problem. No, I'm happy to hang around as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and if anybody else wants to come up and chat, and we can just talk about what's been going on.
And so, Elliot, you're not going to Consensus next week, is what I'm hearing.
No, we're not going to Consensus. I mean, we are looking to do more sort of crypto events this year, but for us, we sort of have to prioritize like advertising events. So crypto's interesting to us. We use it, but our main like clients at the moment, the people who are going to sort of pay money to use our technology, they're people in the advertising industry. So those events are the most important for us.
And I think that, and this is in my personal opinion, I think that's a good approach. And I know, Brooke, you go to a lot of these conferences. Do you think a lot of these conferences, like we're just talking to each other versus like spreading the word to other people?
You're asking me, right? I think that's
yes. You are the number one conference attender. Yes.
I haven't really like kind of explained to people like why, there's multiple reasons why I do this, content, this is a personal brand, like Brooke J. Lacey is an LLC. I've told you guys that before. I also just have wanderlust. Like I love to travel. So these just give me an opportunity to like be with the people that kind of understand me and it's just exciting and I have the means to do it. So, once if I have air in my lungs and legs that work, I'm going to travel. But the conference part of it, like Consensus and like CES, I've been going to CES for probably since it started, because I'm a hardware, like, I love hardware. I've been building computers for 20 years. Things that people don't really, I don't talk about that really anymore because this is the, other world I live in. But conferences are really important because there's definitely networking. And yes, there's a lot of fun things. And I love being social and seeing people. And I love being in people's, like physical energy. So again, there's a lot of different reasons, but like Consensus, I'm in like full business mode. It's going to throw off a lot of my friends that like have never seen me in that mode. But it's very important, especially where there's like booths. The NFT conferences are kind of like, they've become a little bit irrelevant. Sorry, not sorry. I think we all understand that like really it's the side events and the I mean, sorry, I'm not sorry. It's really like the side events and the networking and talking with people. That's how marketing works in my world. Like when I'm marketing to my tech services, my tech business, I'm just better talking about it and like being in person. So there's like those two variables. Like, are you getting the most out of it just being social and like getting your getting your friendship quota in? That didn't even make sense. It did in my head, but and then being able to like learn about new technology. That's what I always loved about CES. You could spend 4 days there and still not learn everything. If you guys don't know, that's the Consumer Electronics Show. And we used to go
I did not know what that was.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. The Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas every year is the biggest like technology convention conference. I mean, you go and you listen to the Microsofts and the Motorola's and like it
Is
used
there
to.
ever any crypto or blockchain present?
Not really. Not
And
really.
that's I guess what I'm trying. What my point was that I never
Yeah.
feel like it's what Elliot's doing and VRA. They're expanding to conferences where it's not a bunch of blockchain people, and I don't know.
Right.
Like, is that where we fail in that we kind of bubble ourselves into our own little niche?
Yes, I believe so. But there's opportunities there. There's opportunities to like have these blockchain crypto NFT conferences and really gear it toward, like I think it's just in its infancy stage, like really gear it towards people outside of the ecosystem or whatever. So yes, like there's other conferences that are going on. Blockchain week in LA was great, but it was small. Like there wasn't, we've got to like build that up, because it really was about, the tech and the moving forward of the like ideals that we all have, and not necessarily looking at, music NFTs and all of those good things that we love. It needs to advance. 100% needs to advance.
Completely agree. Something else that I wanted to bring up that caused a little a ruckus on crypto Twitter was the Ledger post. So Ledger came out with a necklace that has like a ledger, and everybody on crypto Twitter went crazy.
Yes.
What are your
Me
thoughts?
included.
Not safe.
I pissed off a few people, but I don't care. Like that, under no circumstances should you carry your ledger around your neck. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
How did that get through marketing, everybody?
Who said that was a good thing, And just like, I made it abundantly clear that it's not that I think this is going to lead to like more crypto hacks or whatever everybody thinks. This is a physical security issue mostly, especially being at all these events. I tell people, like, be real careful about what merch you wear and all. It's like, I don't bring my high value handbags to certain things, and everyone's like, oh, but I haven't really felt that security issue. And I'm like, until you do,
Isn't it like the one thing I thought, it's like if you have a black American Express, I don't know if those still exist, and you rock it on a chain, just like, hey.
And I think all the jokes about it were so funny. Like, does this come with a t-shirt with a target on the back? One of mine was like, does it come with a bottle of chloroform? Like this is just asking for like physical security issues. I'm sorry. Like it's absolutely, it was so like dangerous. And that was a very poor choice. And then they kept it up, and they were hiding replies. If you went to look at the replies, they were literally hiding them instead of listening to the community. I mean, it was bad. Like, under no circumstances should you flex anything like that. Of course, no. Of course, somebody can't steal it and then walk away and plug it into their computer and take your crypto. Like, we're not that dumb. Like that wasn't what we were saying. It's just showing that you have assets. Like, yeah, like wearing your Amex Black card around your neck. It's security. It's physical security.
It's almost like they were trying to make it look cool to do that.
That's what they said. Security is a flex, Tammy. Yeah. It literally says that on their website.
Yeah, no, because I'm with you, Brooke. There are places that I don't carry certain things just because. And you know what? You could be, I was just in this discussion with somebody yesterday, a good friend, and I was talking to him about it. He was asking me about the whole Chicago issue. And I said, that stuff's going down in a very nice area where everybody is. So just don't be aware of your surroundings, and just be aware that that's not a cool thing to do. I think Jess's analogy with your American Express black card around your neck, that would be the same thing. It's dumb. Like, just use your head.
And women especially.
Yeah, and I think that's why like marketing and communications in these projects is so important. I just don't understand how that like fell through the cracks, and everybody was like, yeah, this is a great idea. And Ledger's such a reputable brand in this space. I just feel like everybody expected more. But yeah, go ahead, Elliot. I saw you on mic.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it reminds me of a few years ago. I ordered a Ledger, and in the pack it had loads of Ledger stickers to put on your laptop. I remember I said to my partner at the time, you've got to be pretty crazy to actually put these on your laptop and advertise the fact that you hold crypto, because that, in a lot of places, that does make you a target. And I know that we've been pretty careful around organizing events in the past. Like, we always worry that if we get all of our holders into one place and we have like a crypto event, is that going to make them a target for people who might be there with bad intentions? I think it's something that a lot of people forget in crypto Twitter. They advertise quite often. I mean, I think we have a lot of people who advertise their wealth if they hold crypto, they advertise their wealth on crypto Twitter, and they forget that nowadays it's actually really easy to find people in real life, or if they say they're going to an event, unfortunately that could end pretty badly.
Completely agree. Yeah, nothing's safe. I was reading yesterday that there's like hackers are now, the where you plug in your phone at the airport and things like that, that they could put like some malicious stuff in the charging thing. I didn't even know that. So like even
Yes.
be careful with charging your phone in public chargers. So crazy.
And loading this is something that happened yesterday that it just blows my mind. But I do not like victim shame. That's one of the biggest things in cybersecurity. The very first thing, and even just tech in general, like, don't victim shame. However, like, also we need to be very clear that it's not very smart to put your seed phrases literally anywhere that has any type of electronic, like that can be, on the cloud or whatever. Evernote, like, who uses Evernote anymore? But it's still out there. uh, there's definitely an easy compromise to that. And, leaving your seed phrase in Evernote, now they've got a compromise to a vulnerability in there, and somebody was drained. So yeah, and like, I have a Trezor from many, many, many years ago with very old Bitcoin, and sometimes it's like hard for me to even say, because yeah, it sits in the safe, fireproof safe. I would never, take pictures of it or bring it anywhere. Like, so be careful with Evernote or putting your seed phrase anywhere online. It should be on a piece of paper. I mean, I just don't get it. Although I do get it, because it's easy and convenient, and people, that's what we are doing in 2023. We're utilizing convenience. Technology is, making our lives better, but there are certain things that you got to bring back to the analog. Ooh, bring it back to the analog. That's my next tweet.
Something that I like to mention when we talk about the security and the seed phrases and putting them places, I know, like what Brooke just mentioned, putting them in something fireproof, like a fireproof safe. Please be aware. I know I've brought this up before. Even if you think, wow, you know what? I have a safety deposit box. I want to put it in that just for safekeeping. Just make sure when you go in and you have one of those that they are actually housed within the vault, because they've gone to a new system where they have what they call deposit boxes. So you walk in, you don't actually need the bank representative to let you in your box. You have the sole key to it. But please be aware that when you have the situation like that, that they're out within the branch, they're usually in like a different area against a wall. Those are not fireproof, just so you know. So if you do have one of those, please, please, please know that that is not fireproof. You would rather, if you are going to have one, you are going to put it in there, please make sure that it's contained within a vault. And that concludes my security talk on that end.
Great points. Great points. I do see we have two new speakers up here, Erica and Dak. Erica, welcome. Good morning.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hi,
Doing
Erica.
well.
Erica, I'm so excited
Hi.
you're here. Oh my God, I've
I know.
missed you.
I miss you guys too. It feels really good to be, back into the swing of things. And I missed you guys tremendously, but I am feeling a lot better. So thanks for bringing me up. I have two things actually. One of them is a little bit more serious, and one of them is really funny. So I'm gonna go with the serious one first. Um, and it's for Brooke actually. So okay, so when I was at NFT NYC last year, everyone was like, turn off your Wi-Fi when you're at all these events. Is there any validity in that? Like, does that even really protect you from anything?
Well, okay. So the answer is yes. I guess, just, I'm extremely vigilant. Like, the talk I gave at East Denver, or not talk, but I was on a panel called "Be Stay Paranoid." So, like, I'll always tell you, like, either shut off your phone or, all of that. But the likelihood of something happening is so low that just like Elliot was saying, like, nothing's really unhackable other than, the blockchain. But the likelihood is so low. But what can happen is, like, let's say I'm at the coffee shop, and it doesn't necessarily, and I'm sure there's people out there that are going to say I'm so wrong, but it's not necessarily as easy on a phone as it is like with a computer with like Windows, where if you're in a coffee shop and it's, free Wi-Fi, and then I come in and I sort of spoof that Wi-Fi, and then like meaning like my hotspot. Sorry, I'm so tired. I need more coffee, right? Yeah, coffee and crypto. Like I can spoof that and then get you to like connect to my Wi-Fi, and then I've got access to your computer. So it's kind of like somebody would have to be a little bit smart to be able to do that. So I would just say don't, connect to free Wi-Fi, open Wi-Fi. Um, it, I stay on my 5G or whatever, my, T-Mobile. And then I use a VPN on my phone on the router level, super paranoid. But it really would take some sophistication of someone. But we all know that crypto is a higher target. NFT events are a higher target, just like wearing merch, just like being on your own. There's a higher, ratio of men to women. And so, you kind of have to stick together. Last year, I always, this physical security thing, you guys, I could go off on this forever, but it's really important to know that, you know, that entire physical security thing, when we're all like excited about being together and then there's all this heightened energy, you got to be real careful that, because that's going to be adrenaline flowing and dopamine flowing, and people do kind of crazier things when those like emotions and hormones are involved. I don't know how else to say it. So you have to be really careful. Make sure that your friends know where you are. But yeah, be like, make sure your phones are either shut off or have a VPN, because there's just like wearing a ledger around your neck. Just being at an event is going to maybe put you into the sight of somebody who's a threat actor or has, malicious intent, because they're like, oh, crypto, they must have money. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but you're putting yourself into, like last year at the Bitcoin Miami conference, it's not even like NFT stuff. There were some, kind of security issues. But I've never, I'll give you this example really quick, is that I feel like I've been, like, I'm like 6 feet tall. You can't miss me coming into a room. So I don't feel like I'm very like physically snatchable by somebody, but like a lot of my friends who are, you know, short, I kind of think, man, if they are, drinking or if they're whatever at these events, there's definitely like an issue of they could just be sort of snatched up and off they go. So I felt a little bit not secure last year, because I looked around and was like, oh, I'm the only woman at this party and there's a lot of alcohol and there's a lot of, stuff going on. So, of course, because I'm vigilant about it, it just really worried me that, like, if I didn't notice it right at first, how are these other girls not going to notice it? So you just have to be so careful. I have a group of guy friends that are, really protective of me, especially after that last year. Make sure you're with them, or, if anyone's at an event and you feel not safe, come and find me. Like, I will do whatever I can. But these physical security issues, it's like, yeah, turn off your Wi-Fi, but just know that a bigger target is on us, because it's a, money driven thing. Sorry, that was really long-winded, but I hope that helped.
No, that's awesome. I love it, and I 100% agree with you. Like, it is scary. Like, I don't know, scary, but you just have to be like so hyper aware of your surroundings at all time. And it's hard, like when you have a couple of drinks and, like you said, adrenaline is flowing. But I think that's why, like, I am like Brooke. I was like, hey, Brooke, are you going to be at Consensus? And you're like, hell yeah. And I'm like, okay, awesome. Like, that's somebody that I know, that I feel like I can trust. And it's just important that when you come to these events, like, try to have at least a handful of people that that you can like contact, and yeah, just kind of have at your side. So I feel a
And
lot better
Erica, last
knowing
year,
that.
even at Consensus, I have a couple of guy friends in the security world that are ex-military, and have this training, and one was with us, and there was a couple of, I don't know if it was a couple, and they were wearing Bored Ape merch, and they were followed back to their hotel. And thankfully, they were vigilant enough to be like, "Oh, somebody's following us." And we were able to give them a plan of like, well, not me, my friend who was talking to them and helping them, like, okay, this is how you avoid it, and kind of lose your tail. But this isn't, I'm not trying to scare everybody, but I am also trying to scare you.
Thanks, Brooke. And I know, Erica, you wanted to say something else. Go ahead, and then we'll get to the rest of the hands.
Yeah, definitely. So now flipping the script and going to something that I saw that is floating around Reddit. And because we're because we're on the topic of like ledgers. Okay, you guys. So here's the headline. Twitter. Trezor stick found in Terra founder Do Kwon during thorough body inspection. So there is this post going around where it shows like the X-ray of like him and having the Trezor inside of him, like he was trying to hide it or something. And I just thought that was hilarious. And it's like, oh, it's from Reuters, but of course I don't post any sources or anything like that. So yeah, there's your humor for Friday morning.
Please tell me he had shit coins on that otherwise, that was such a wasted X-ray. Just tell me. Oh my God.
What's up, NP? Yeah, Reddit is wild. Reddit is a wild place. But let's go to the hands, and then NP will circle back to you and Johnny. Death, what's going on?
Good morning, Jess and Tammy. Thank you guys for having me.
Good morning.
And I completely agree with what Brooke was saying. And Erica, I'm glad also to see you back around. In the sense of the events, for sure the physical danger is always at the utmost, because it's known that there is a lot of value that's being brought to the events. And in Ledger's case, I can't believe the advertisement personally. I mean, they've been hacked twice, and they've released people's information personally from this, not the device itself, right? But to advertise to where, hey, I've leaked your address and your information and wear the device with you is just like, I don't understand that. But at the events, the concept is not, you can't be attacked if your Wi-Fi isn't attached to somebody else's Wi-Fi. Like if you join a public Wi-Fi, just like Brooke said, that's dangerous. The fear is like your phone is going to accidentally join a public Wi-Fi if you have it set to do so sometimes, and so that's why it's safer to shut it off. But the thing you really want to look out for is people who go around reading SIM cards. And so anybody who gets close to your phone, because they're not really much of an attacker, but they're trying to steal people's information that they can sell it to an attacker in the future. And so these events are probably looked at as like hotspots for that kind of typical behavior. So that's just something to look out for.
And Death, did you see that? I thank you for bringing that up. Like my memory is just off. But there's like a leaked like influencer list that who knows who's on it? Like, what does that even mean? But there's a list of people that someone has tracked back their phone numbers, and then the SIM swap thing isn't even in person. They're like mass texting these people and running the SIM swap scam that way. So it's like not even in person. You just have, I don't even know what to say to protect people. Yeah, so, like, what do they even do?
So the SIM swapper, they're out to just like make a quick profit. And so they'll go around with like it looks like a phone or a credit card sometimes, and they'll read the information, which is connected to the DNS of your phone, which is your domain name service. Domain name service. And that is paired with the device ID, which is attached to all of your information if you've purchased your phone and have an iCloud associated with it. And so they just want to sell that to somebody who then builds a profile on you. And then just as you said, Brooke, they try and eventually steal your account and your information and do something malicious with it.
Get a Faraday case, put on your tinfoil hat.
Thanks, Dad.
Actually,
information. Go ahead, Elliot.
I think this is one of the reasons why mobile 2FA is the weakest form of 2FA. So I always would prefer to use an authenticator app like Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator isn't so good in terms of user interface, but Google Authenticator But then at the same time, you have to remember to back up your codes. But even better, I think if you're dealing with a lot of crypto, you should probably actually invest in an authenticator device. So I'm not sure how common they are in the USA. I can only speak for the UK, but a lot of UK banks will actually issue, and you get like a debit card or a bank card, they'll actually issue a physical 2FA device. So when you make a large transaction from your bank account, you have to actually physically use this device to make the transaction. And I think you can get similar devices that you can link to 2FA for exchange accounts and wallet accounts. And I think they're probably well worth investing in.
Elliot, remember RSA keys? I remember feeling so safe. You gotta log in, and then you gotta like get your RSA key out. And why don't we do that anymore?
Oh my God, I remember those things.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
great
still quite
point.
common in the UK. Yeah, it's still quite common that they're issued to people using banking infrastructure. Yeah.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, great points. I agree with you. I prefer using like Google Authenticator versus, SMS authentication. Definitely good tip. But let's go to Seed, then we'll go to NK and Brad. Good morning, Seed.
Good morning. Hope everyone is doing wonderful today. My artist name is Cyrus, and my company is Seed. I was actually going to mention the story about the ledger that was apparently found inside of that one dude, but it looks like somebody else also had the same story, so that was kind of funny. I'm not surprised I'm not the only one that saw that, but I immediately thought about it and I was like, why would someone need to do that? And how would you get it out once it's there? Or maybe it was accidental. Who knows? I'd like to know the backstory behind that. If someone could interview that gentleman and maybe find out, that would be nice. But yeah, I also wanted to say, like, someone taught me to do two-factor authentication on Twitter, even instead of connecting it to your phone number. That the phone number one is actually not a good idea, and two-factor authentication is really the way to go, even on Twitter. And yeah, I mean, as far as like security and live events, I work at live events all the time, and build art experiences and installations. And I really never think about these things because I'm always like running around. But yeah, I mean, is it something where, like, let's say your Wi-Fi is off, your phone's in your pocket, can someone just walk by you and just scan your phone? Is that what you guys were like referring to as far as that being like a threat? Is that something that's possible to do, or do I need to put my phone in like a aluminum foil purse or something?
My answer is anything's possible. Likelihood very, very low, but anything is possible. And Faraday bags are very common, and they're fairly inexpensive. You can get them anywhere. You can get like a Faraday case for your phone, so it's a good idea. And again, we all sound, I know I sound crazy and paranoid, but I'd rather be that than lose everything. And maybe I've just had experiences in the past where I have lost things, and so that creates this paranoia, or this maybe a different word. Let's find a better word for that. But putting it, like, protecting yourself, more protection is always better in all things. So
I
yeah,
remember
the answer is that anything's possible.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I don't know if you guys remember the Anarchist cookbook. That was like a big thing back in the day, but there was this one thing where if you use a floppy disk, you crack open the floppy disk. I don't know if you guys still have those laying around somewhere, but I definitely have a stack of them, just saving them, I don't know why, but apparently the film inside the floppy disk has this ability to block something I'm not really from the technical side, but like if you were to wrap it in something and go through an x-ray machine, it has the ability to block that. Now I don't know if that's true because it's obviously, who knows, the anarchist cookbook, a lot of that stuff is like really just kind of a joke, but some of it is kind of legit. I'm wondering if that's what these bags are made out of. If that's the case, I've got some floppy disks ready to go.
A Faraday cage is a piece of parcel or leather typically that has a thin lining of lead in it. Lead is not a good conductor, so it doesn't let electrical signal run through it.
And this is part useful info and part shameless pitch. But we've got in Europe, we've got wallets that basically they're like metal wallets and they block all incoming RFID things. The leading brand is called Secred. And they're really useful. You can also get like inserts for conventional wallets that block this, because card scanning is quite a big thing in Europe. And obviously Veracity, we've just launched like a Visa debit card, the Vera card, where you can load up VRA and spend it in stores. And for some users who are the first users of that, we've got a giveaway planned, and it's going to be along those lines of like physical card protection. So something that we take pretty seriously. But there are there's really cool wallets that you can get that actually prevent that.
Well, we're really
Sign me
behind
up.
in the US. Everything is happening over there. I'm like, what? That's cool. But yeah, great questions and great points. And thanks for sharing that. Very interesting. NK, you're here. Good morning. What's going on?
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Can you
You
hear me
sound
okay?
good. You sound good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are talking about this ledger thing. And if you're listening, if you haven't already followed them, please do. Like, this is like really one of the rare spaces I make sure to like once I get a chance to go to, because not all of them will actually spend time talking about the importance of this. I think this is something that we gloss over so easily because we're so used to hearing scams and scams happening in the space, but that's not the only way for them to get your information. Earlier it was said, like, that this might seem like he's paranoid. If this sounds paranoid to you, you're not ready for Web3. And I hate to be that straightforward, but it's Friday and I ain't gonna work tomorrow. So well, I just say that to say, like, I think it's a blessing if you already kind of have that natural behavior of protection. Where I was born, they kidnap people, so we're not we're not like big on, like, we'll flex with like brands and stuff like that culturally, but as far as flashing your money like in front of people, I don't think a lot of people understand how hungry a lot of the human beings they're around. Just because you're at a Bitcoin event and everybody's screaming Bitcoin, Bitcoin, you could be sitting next to somebody that doesn't own a drop of Bitcoin. They're just there to steal. And that's really the nature of a space like this. When something is booming to this level, understand that it attracts the good, it attracts the great, it attracts the magnificent, but it also attracts the scumbags. And like, literally, crypto is, you are your own banking institute, you are your own keeper. You understand? Like, you're literally on your own. If somebody jumps you and steals your ledger, what do you think a policeman that's been on the force for like 50 years knows about investigating crypto crimes? Like, they don't know anything about this stuff. So it really is on you to be like diligent. I think it's highly irresponsible that Ledger not only is releasing this but did you see the chain? I'm sorry, but I love chains. That's not even a Franco chain. Like, the tension in it, boy. I mean, I don't even have to slow down. I don't even have to run to rip that shit off. I could just jog past you and rip it off. You understand? And you may not even feel it. Like, I was just imagining, like, we just what's NFT NYC just finished. NFT LA was prior to that. And I used to make this statement and people would crack a joke and I would say, hey, if you see me with a pager at NFT LA, don't say nothing. And they thought I was joking, but no, I really showed. Like, I would leave the hotel, I would put my phone in the safe, I would leave the hotel. I don't even have like these apps installed by the time I go to these events. I do make sure I have my settings so that it doesn't, like, I don't like my phone like hoeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, every little Wi-Fi signal tries to connect. Stop being a hoe. Just sit straight and act like you've been places. So I turn off all those settings, and that really is important. And by the way, when you said the backstory, I don't know who said that, but somebody was just like, I would love to know the backstory of the treasure being in it. I don't know if that was a pun, but I choked on my coffee.
Oh, the backstory. Now I
Did
get
you
it.
catch the back? I was like, man, did she mean that? Because that was perfect timing. So I would just say, like, you really have to be cognizant. Understand that these companies, these are Web 2 companies selling Web 3 products. Half of them don't even know how to protect it. How do I know? Because the person that made that post for Ledger, that wasn't even an ad. That was a post. That wasn't even an ad. They weren't even like thinking.
Oh, we lost her. She probably got a call.
Right,
Yep.
Sorry, I got a call. My bad. Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Okay,
you're
sorry
back.
about that. I got a call. Yeah, so I would just say, don't lean on these companies. Don't expect these companies to put your safety first. They have to put their bottom line first because they have employees and they have obligations and they have taxes to pay. So I do find myself like very, very insulted by Ledger, but at the same time, what do you expect from a company that recently released their whole line and tells you can buy it at Best Buy? In college, I used to work at Best Buy, and I'm not gonna snitch on myself, but I'm gonna tell you right now, we can get into them cases, bro. We can get into them cases and we can reseal it and we can put it right there and we can sell it to you, bro. So you have to be careful and understand what you're really protecting is not even the ledger. What you're protecting is the seed phrase. Because understand, if you lose that ledger, if somebody just comes up and ganks it, all that matters is, do you have your seed phrase? Because remember that crypto doesn't live in there. You're just pointing it to there from the blockchain. That's the benefit there. But the way that this particular product is set up, they literally have the ledger and the seed like right there, and it's supposed to be like a fashion statement. If it's not diamond studded and empty, that's not a fashion statement. That's a walking target. I was born in Nigeria, and they kidnap people for fun. I've had several members in my family be kidnapped. So I grew up with the mentality of kind of moving in a certain way, being cognizant of your surroundings. Where's your okay? Cool. Is there only one exit? Well, we'll make sure you kind of hover towards that side. And yes, that may sound paranoid to some people, but again, I mean, maybe you're new to money, maybe you're new to the space, maybe you're new to tech, but you really do need to move differently when you're in this space. You can still have fun, make friends, do all that stuff. But one of the coldest scams I ever heard of was a guy who made a friend with another Bored Ape. And they literally built up a friendship 15 months. They went on vacations together. Their wives were friends. At the end of that 15 months, come to find out that guy was a scammer, owned no Bored Apes, and he was only friends with them so that he could hack. And he got this guy for like 15 apes, something crazy like that. You got him for like, do you know how much money that is? That's your child's college fund. That's the house you were going to build. So these are real assets. They back things. You can go and get loans against these assets and change your entire life. Treat them as such. It's not play money. It's not internet money. It's your investment, and you need to move as if.
Great points. Can't deny any of that. Great points all around. Thank you, NK, for always coming and dropping the alpha. Brad, I see you have your hand up. Good morning.
GM gang, just hear another great discussion. I think it's something that a lot of people talk about, but not a whole lot of people actually practice. I'm personally, I come from cybersecurity background, and so I'm over protected essentially. But there's a lot of things that people are forgetting about that used to get talked about a lot. Like I saw so many random QR codes throughout the city. This past was it last week was NFT? It's fucking blur, but like, all of these, people put up stickers with QR codes for a free airdrop, or whitelist, or find the location of the secret event happening later tonight and things like that. And I never have once scanned a QR code that's just out and about in public, and it was terrifying, watching all these people at the event, at the actual main conference event. They had this big, like it said NFT NYC, these big white letters, and people were blasting stickers all over them. And it looked really dope, actually, with all the different PFP projects and all the cool stickers on it. But there were so many QR code stickers that I saw people going up and trying to scan and read and whatnot. It's like, you have no idea where that even came from. It's not like, and even if you recognize it as like, oh, check out this Doodles QR code or whatever, it's like, you know how easily I could just print one and throw it up somewhere and then just take your shit. It's not that hard. I forget who said something about the Starbucks, that was one of like the early things that, I kind of learned how to do in cybersecurity, was sit in a Starbucks with my laptop. And realistically, it's so easy to just start keylogging and start screen sharing and start monitoring like anybody that wants to connect. they said spoofing the Wi-Fi. Essentially what that is when you just create a hotspot and you name it Starbucks Wi-Fi, and people are like, that don't know anything, that don't know better, they're no fault of their own. It's not something a lot of people really know, but they just hop into Starbucks like, oh, here's the Wi-Fi, I'll connect. And all of a sudden now I'm mirroring you, reading your emails and seeing what you're typing in and all of that. And it's a serious problem, with cybersecurity. So with Ledger's newest shit, that's asinine, dude. That's insane. Why you would ever, I don't even bring my Ledger to events. I mean, mine really doesn't ever leave my house. Honestly, like, I should probably just like pull it out of my safe and plug it in just to see, I guess. I mean, realistically, I loaded it with some assets and put it away. You should never really bring it places with you. It's like having your reserves that are in your safe. Let's say you have like a couple ounces of gold, or silver, if you're into commodities and shit like that. Like, that'd be like, oh, I'm going to this conference for coins, and I'm going to bring all of my gold and all of my silver with me. And it's like, why would you do that? You're just a walking target. So I do think it's interesting what we're going to see. Some like super alpha I read about yesterday for security stuff is in Europe, they just passed a new legislation that requires smart contracts to have a kill switch on them, that can be activated that way. If the smart contract gets compromised, if there's a bug, if something happens, there will always be essentially a kill switch. As I was reading that, as a developer, I was thinking immediately about, this account abstraction stuff and having smart accounts and 4337, this some nerdy shit, but realistically, I think that we're not too far off from having a wallet that has these kill switches, to where if you are starting to get drained or something happens and your wallet's compromised, you can legitimately just kill it, and I think that that's a interesting solution. 2FA is great too, but as an absolute final backup to just like essentially pause everything, kill switch your wallet so that nothing can leave it. If you do get, your seed phrase compromised, you can kill the wallet while you transfer shit. There's some cool things that I think we're going to see happening in the next 6 months or so. So, sorry to ramble there, but it's something that I find really, really interesting is the security as it evolves in Web3.
Yeah, that Starbucks thing is scary. Thankfully, I don't like Starbucks coffee. I probably shouldn't say that publicly. I don't like Starbucks coffee, so I don't go there a lot. I prefer Nespresso at home. But let's go to a great point, Fred. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's go to Nico, and then we'll move on.
I didn't know that you didn't like Starbucks. I always see the Starbucks stuff. But anyway, good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to throw in there that chain can be used to fish the ledger out of places, just in case, and for smuggling purposes. But anyway.
Should have told Do Kwon before he put that. You know what I'm saying? Because,
I just want to know, like, how he got it in there. I mean, it's not.
All right, Fred. There's only one way it could have gotten there.
Some Vaseline,
yeah,
babe.
Let's not get too deep on that. It's still not even noon where I'm at.
I'm actually curious, like, do you guys fly places and take it with you? Because
absolutely not.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
like,
imagine.
What do you do if you have to go, like, let's say I have to go visit my mom, because that's like a thing I want to do, and she's in another country right now. So I guess I just leave it at home, because I don't know. Then you can't really like access anything. Not that, I mean, I don't know. These are all new things that are coming to mind now, because I've never really thought about it before, I guess.
Let's go to NK, and then we do got to keep it moving. So go ahead, NK. Do you want to answer that?
For sure. Just real quick. One rule of thumb that I've learned over time is that once once a certain amount of wealth is accrued inside of a wallet, it's time for you to remove it from your home. It can't be in your home. It is quite dangerous for you to have there. This is something that a lot of people don't know. There are people who can track you based on that ledger. It does emit a signal whenever it's connected and things like that. So always be cognizant of that. Number two, a long time ago, and this might seem like overkill, but a long time ago, I realized that the worst, like, of course, there's threats outside, but the worst threat to any asset that I had was me. I remember cashing out a Bitcoin at 15K and just to see if this really going to happen. Because I mean, I got in like really, really early. So you have the opportunity to play with those things. You know what I mean? But for somebody that's like brand new to the space, you just got your first coin, you just finally hit 0.5 on a coin or whatever it is, you do need to kind of set a limit in your mind and then decide at what point of accruement does this need to now go into a safety deposit box. I don't keep things at home. It's not safe. If I have kids and they're here with a nanny, I don't know if somebody's going to try to kick in the door. I'm on here all the time. I don't dox to a certain level because the reality is you can find anybody's address if you know their name. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to change the entire approach if you're going to take this space seriously. Now, if you're just buying like Dogecoin, ain't nobody kicking in your door for Dogecoin paper. There's a lot
Leave my
available.
Dogecoin alone.
But it is the
Right?
future. It is the future. That's what Elon said. I would just say that if you feel that kind of fear, number one, also make sure that you're not sharing when you're going out of town. If people know you're in crypto, they know where you live, your friends, your family. Most break-ins, most attacks, they happen with somebody that you actually know, that knows you face to face. So do be cognizant of that. And if you really want to get fancy with it, be aware of which one of your friends are struggling financially. The lack of money changes people just as much as the presence of money can change somebody. You know what I'm saying? So there really are a lot more safety measures than this. I know people that go to parties and they literally just sit there showing all the NFTs they own. I've literally had somebody go through like a list of like 20 plus apes in front of me. And in my mind, I was just like, should I tell them or should I just mind my business? Because I minded my business in the end. It's not my business. But I would just say, like, if you get to that level of concern, perhaps there's a place that you need to store it in. And kind of set it and forget it.
All great points. Appreciate it. Great question, Seed. Thank you so much for asking that, and thanks, MK, for answering. But yeah, just to bring up another topic, obviously, there were two hearings this week that caused a little bit of stir on the timeline as well. On Tuesday, we had Gensler, and on Wednesday, there was a stablecoin hearing. I'm sure everybody saw a lot of clips from the Gensler hearing, just a couple of highlights that I noted. One, he said he's never owned crypto. Maybe I'll just pause with that one. So, and by the way, I did want to welcome Johnny. Hey, Johnny, how's it going?
Oh, good morning, GM Eid Mubarak for anyone out there. Thanks for having me.
So Gensler is saying that he never owned any crypto. How can a MIT professor who taught blockchain technology never own crypto? What are your thoughts about what you heard from Gensler this week?
Oh, it's easy. He's lying. That's easy. That's
straight up through his teeth, bro.
If he doesn't own crypto, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like clearly he owns crypto because anyone who learns about crypto goes out and gets some crypto. There's no way he doesn't have a computer in his house that he logs into every now and then and gets some PEPE. Like for sure, he's got. Not only does he have crypto, he has shitcoins.
Go ahead, Tammy.
I just wanted to say one thing, and you'll probably get into this, but I thought he was real slick too, the way that he had to bring up the whole. Dow sent that to us, the video clip, but obviously we heard it live. We were listening when he noted the three banks that they possibly, or they had ties to crypto. And that really, I mean, to be honest, it chapped my ass. I was annoyed by that because anybody that was following it, he didn't specifically say SVB, but he highlighted Silvergate and Signature. But anyone knows that if in the banking world, obviously they're going to have business deposits and business accounts. So that didn't necessarily mean that they were holding crypto. Possibly the reserves that these companies were holding would be in fiat and be held at the bank. I mean, that is a normal thing. So for him to kind of throw that in there, it really irritated me because I'm like, that is not why those went down. And especially the Silicon Valley Bank with the whole thing with them investing in those long-term treasuries. That really irritated me because that's how they got screwed when the run on the bank happened. They had to take a loss on those because they were at such a low interest rate and the Fed raised rates so fast, so quick. And the pandemic had a lot to do with it as well. So they had to cash those in, take a loss, and take a hit on those as well for cashing them in early. So it had nothing to do with crypto. And none of them. Silvergate, that one is a little questionable, but the others, no, it had nothing to do with that. But he just had to put that in there. And I just had to say, I had to go on my rant because it chapped my ass. It ticked me off.
Man, that
But
was one of the best hearings I've heard. They were just grilling him. And just a couple of things, I'll get to the hands, but just to say, he also refused to say whether ETH was a security or not. And then another thing that was floating around crypto Twitter is that, so there was the SEC is suing Bittrex for some securities, and one of those was Algo. And then the video came out of Gensler speaking in a panel about Algo, basically shilling it. And somebody put out a funny tweet: if you would have bought $100 of Algo when Gensler told you they could build Uber, it would now be $5. So the guy who wants to sue everybody for quote unquote, shilling securities was shilling a security himself. But we'll go to the hands, Death and then Elliot, Death, NK, and then Elliot.
Yeah, no, and the good news is, Tammy, at least the next day in the Financial Services Committee, the New York State regulator completely said the opposite of Gensler, and
yes,
it was amazing to watch that.
destroyed him, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was literally the opposite of everything he said, and she said it so articulated and well. But Gensler for sure. The whole MIT thing. I mean, I don't know if he owns digital assets and any crypto. And I find it hard to believe that he's never owned any. I think that's just. I hope that comes out, that we find some sort of substantial proof to prove that he owns specific wallets. But he did not write those courses for MIT. I mean, he worked at Goldman Sachs previous to that, and there is an author who was sued actually for saying something, I think, down the road, who actually wrote the whole class that Gensler taught.
Interesting. So maybe he's just like the speaker part of it.
Yeah, that's it. He was just playing the professor role.
Interesting. Go ahead, NK, and then Elliot.
Yeah, I think did you see him when they asked him about Ethereum? He started shaking, like his hands were literally shaking. And I was just looking at that, just wondering like what in the world is going on with him. Another funny meme I saw is that they compared him to, what's that character in The Simpsons? The old guy that's evil and rich?
Mr. Burns.
Yeah, Mr. Burns. And one thing about Mr. Burns is that he would always kind of shit on things that he knew were lucrative so that there would be enough for him to go and get. I noticed that that Gensler is taking that route, even though we already know that he's a hypocrite on that. Just like Warren Buffett, I just see all these people kind of coming out and they're pointing all these things at crypto, but the reality is it doesn't even matter if those banks did anything with crypto, because it's not like crypto is an institution. It's not like there's a specific person that you go to and this is the person that tells you whether or not you're we can't control if they log on to crypto.com and buy a bunch of crypto with the money that belongs to other people. That has nothing to do with us. And I think that the fact that he says those kind of things confidently, that's misinformation that you're spreading, and you're saying it so confidently that it makes me wonder, is it that he doesn't know what he's talking about, or that he feels that the people that are listening have no idea how to vet out whether or not what he's saying is correct, or if it's just BS for him to just, say something and move on. And I think it's closer to the latter. I think it's these people really questioning the intelligence of the normal day-to-day person that would watch it. The people that are in this community, we know to ask questions, but there's a lot of people out there that have no idea. So when someone like Gensler says, blame crypto, they're going to blame crypto because they don't understand it. And it's easy to blame things that you don't understand. But I think it's going to come back to kind of roost on him. I think it's going to backfire because ultimately, well, I mean, in my book, ETH is a security. We're not going to play that game. But I think his inability to just kind of draw like just clear lines is only going to damage him. And as far as him going to MIT, I remember when that used to be like a, like a badge of honor. Well, SBF went to MIT. Some of the biggest scammers we know in the world went to MIT, and they're really shitty at scamming. So maybe they need to be teaching those classes at MIT, how to be a better scammer. I don't know. So I just feel like a lot of these people, they're kind of all playing the same bro game, and they're trying to see how much they can, get away with. But ultimately, I think one thing we can all agree on is that the blockchain doesn't lie. And as far as him owning, it's not hard to find. All he has to do is expose one wallet, and boy, once you get that one address, you can go anywhere you want. You can find anything out, about his movements, because you're not going to tell me he has been kind of like shifting money back and forth between wallets. Once you get one, you can find out all the other information that you need. So I think a lot of what he's doing right now is for a show. That's why it doesn't make sense. And often when you see these things and they don't make sense, it's because you're not necessarily the target market. A lot of this stuff doesn't make sense to us because we're not the target market. He's looking for people who aren't in the space, who don't stay plugged in, who don't educate themselves, and who aren't self-starters but still want all the benefits. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that were said in the hearing, that they were asking him, like, are your statements considered regulations? Because he's had around 55 enforcements, yet zero crypto regulation, yet he's always on air sharing his opinion about what he thinks stuff is. It's just ridiculous. Go ahead, Elliot.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's been a great space. I'm really sorry, but I've got to drop off because I got a call coming up. But I just wanted to say thanks for having us, and it's been really fantastic, the quality of conversation. So I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Elliot, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And if you just joined after the space ends, you can go back and play and replay our conversation with Elliot about veracity. But thank you so much for joining.
Thanks
Elliot.
everyone. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Yeah, and just one more thing before I go to you, Johnny. Another thing, NK, that I saw on the timeline, people all are already trying to look to see if they can find his wallet. I saw a tweet around there. People were tagging ZachXBT to see if they can find Gensler's wallet. So that should be interesting to see. Johnny, what's up?
Yeah, and by the way, I think someone mentioned the clip of Gensler getting owned on this, and I put that in the nest. I hope it's okay. The other thing that happens, like if he does have a wallet, right? It's not that he's just going to be a hypocrite. He's going to be, I'm fairly certain that he needs to make disclosures as to what assets he's holding, like politicians do, and I'm pretty sure he does as well. And if it happens that he has a wallet that has a bunch of stuff in it, then he will not have disclosed those, which pretty much corners him into maintaining that those are not securities that he had to disclose, which will be great. He'll be like, oh yeah, that one's not a security, otherwise I would have disclosed it clearly. It's going to be really wonderful when we find out about all this PEPE on a treasure that's been shoved up his ass for months.
You know he's got bags of PEPE.
Go ahead, Nico, and then Death.
I got a wild question here. What if Gensler is Satoshi?
Oh my God, never.
I mean, what if, like, yeah, he's sitting there fucking fighting everything because he just wants Bitcoin, and that's it. He's like the ultimate Bitcoin maxi, you know? Because he said Bitcoin is a commodity. That he came out and said.
Go ahead, Death.
I was going to just say to what Johnny was saying, he now testified under oath. And so if it ever comes out proven that he ever owned any crypto, right, that's at least punishable by removal from office completely, and typically could come with a fine, probably not any jail time, but a fine be associated with that.
No, that would be perjury. So
that should be interesting to see. And speaking about removal of Gensler, who is it? Warren Davis is calling for the restructure of the SEC and the removal of Gary Gensler. So I don't know, but compared to other times, I felt like the vibes toward him were very hostile, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. I'm not sure about you guys. but it was lovely to see.
Same, Jess. Same. I was so thoroughly enjoying that, and even when they grilled him and said, you know, the one I don't remember who it was that pointed this out, but he made sure that he said all of these things have happened under your watch. So, you know, I mean, what good has he done? But yet he's gone after some celebrities. Okay, bro, like what else have you done? Nothing good that I can see. So I agree with you. That was amazing. I had to run errands that day and I made sure I was still listening to it when I left the house because it was that good.
Yeah, I agree. And one other thing about the SEC, they did reopen the comment period for the public. So they have this new, they're trying to pretty much change what the definition of an exchange is. So there is like, you can go comment, but it sounds like what they're looking to in this proposal or bill, whatever it's going to be, it's to target DeFi exchanges and classify them as a quote unquote exchange that they would control. So there's an open comment period until like the end of May, I believe, on that topic. So interesting to see what's going to happen to that. On Wednesday, there was a hearing about stable coins. Just at a high level, like what I found interesting, the representation was from Circle, which to me that's not a good thing. And basically, the vibe that I got is they want a stable coin that they can blacklist addresses, reverse transactions, and Circle seems to be willing to play ball with them. So go ahead, Nico. I'll let you comment on that.
You saw the whole that post on Twitter with the French stablecoin. There was one specifically that USDC or Circle was involved with. They could literally liquidate your wallet. Like the government can just be like, okay, we could take it out, do whatever we want. It's a ton of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just. Oh, go ahead. I thought you were done.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was kind of done. I had to think about something else. Like, yeah, the whole blacklist thing and all that, but they can also turn your money on and off at certain hours of the day. Like, they could do all kinds of stuff to people. So,
Yeah,
like,
and if you look under the hood of Circle, who is holding their treasuries?
BNY.
BlackRock. So yeah, so keep an eye on that. It looked like Circle was on board with everything that the people in Congress were saying. So that should be interesting to see how it plays out. And now another thing, kind of not crypto related, but kind of crypto related. Apple came out with a savings account now where you can earn like 4% interest. No minimum deposit, no minimum balance, and you can earn yield. So with Apple doing this, that, you know, now you can earn yield. That's been one of our pitches for crypto, right? And then you have the Fed now that's coming to install instant payments. Like, isn't this taking away from some of like the narratives of what we pitch crypto to be? And I guess that's maybe a loaded question and just. But I just thought it was interesting that a lot of the things that, you know, we spit, oh, you can earn yield, you can earn instant payments. Now it's being done in the traditional finance.
so the Fed
I
now is
can't.
trying to go.
Nope. Go ahead, Nico.
The whole thing with the Fed now. There was a study done. I don't remember if it was Biden's administration that did it or if it was just a separate someone, just one of the three-letter agencies that did it. But they did a full-blown study where if crypto ended up taking up 3% of the total world's like financial system, like market cap, pretty much, it would cause complete instability in the traditional system. And they're actually trying with the Fed now, with everything that they're trying to do, they're trying to like kind of prevent it from happening. And to top it off, this whole thing with Apple, because that's with Goldman Sachs, Apple is actually losing money on that. They're losing, I think, like 0.5% or 0.25% with that yield.
Interesting.
I kind of wonder how long the yield is, how they're doing that, because typically At the banks, they'll lure you in, obviously, with a teaser rate like that. They'll say 4%, but you have to maintain a certain balance, or it's only in effect for a certain time period. So that I'm not. Oh, hopefully I didn't rug. Did I
No,
rug?
you're
No,
there.
you're there.
Okay,
Yeah,
because my
because yeah,
thing.
they're pitching no fees, no minimum deposit, no balance requirements. So I could put in $2 and earn 4%,
Yeah. It seems strange. It seems strange to
right?
me. I'm not, yeah, I don't quite know what the angle would be on that. Obviously, they have Apple Pay unless they're trying to do something to cut out the banks, to see possibly if they've got a little niche in there that they can kind of get into. That's just, I don't know. It seems a little strange, but people do everything. They like to do everything electronically now, to make things easier, ease of use. So I don't know. I definitely need to look into that further.
I think they see a lot of over leveraged financial institutions, and they are one of the largest cash holders in the world, and so they're gonna try and incentivize everybody to basically just come play in their stadium, and I think it'll dry out the majority of financial institutions.
Yeah, I'd also like to know, with the whole fractional reserve banking system, how that's all handled. That's how these banks got themselves into trouble, because they were able to lend out, 90% of what you put in, some of them. So, it kind of makes me wonder on that as well. That whole fractional reserve system, I think that they need to get their hands around that too, because um, Johnny will probably laugh, but I received a letter, and I know I brought this up before too, that one of the financial institutions that we use, when all this stuff happened, they made sure that they put out there what their reserves were, and they were between 70 and 80%. So some of these banks, they changed the rulings on it in 2020, I believe, and some of them don't even have to have any, where before I believe it was between 3 and 10%, and some of them didn't have to have any reserve. So that's kind of scary. So I'd like to see how that's all handled too on the Apple side, if this is the direction they're going.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. I'm gonna try it out. I have an Apple Card, so I'll definitely check it out and see how it goes. Better than earning my .000 whatever it is from the other bank institutions. Just something else that I saw that was not good news for crypto. But in Colorado last year, they implemented that people could pay their taxes with crypto. And how many people do you think paid their taxes with crypto? Anybody want to give it a guess?
I think only the Sims paid. The Sims, is that close?
No, I was going to say, how many people do you think paid their crypto with taxes? No, their taxes with crypto. I'm sorry.
A lot of
That's what I
people
was
buy
saying.
crypto with their taxes.
It was 11 people. So in the whole state of Colorado, 11 people paid their state income taxes with crypto. That's not good at all. Like, I bet you more people use checks than they did like crypto, which is like old school, writing a check and shit. So, yeah, that was disappointing to see, just something that I saw. But yeah, to keep it moving, and I do have to end this early today, but let's talk a little bit about, I guess we could talk about PEPE, obviously. The vibe this week on Twitter is NFTs are dead, shitcoins are in. Thoughts to the group?
I mean,
Okay,
I
I'll
kind of
go ahead, Brooke, or if not, I'll go.
sorry. I kind of agree that, like, of the sentiment that NFTs are dead and shitcoins are in. However, I also agree that, like, the the profits coming from the shitcoin gains are going back into the NFT market. So it's kind of like this cyclical thing, which that's just my opinion. I think there's a few other people with that opinion, that, like, you know, doing these things isn't necessarily bad, but it's also not great for people who are, maybe confused and getting wrecked. So it's, again, about education and security.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that a lot of people that are from like the NFT community had never like purchased, a meme coin or something like that, and a lot of people had to go through that process. But yeah, those things are definitely risky. I have so many dead animals in my wallet from last bull run, so definitely, be careful with that and obviously, like it's not no different that you have Pepe, right? And then you have baby Pepe, little baby Pepe Inu. It's the same thing as NFTs and all the derivatives. Like, I do feel that maybe it has like come to light to people who are into NFTs that NFTs are just altcoins with pictures. And did it finally like came to that realization? I don't know. Go ahead, NK. Oh, maybe she's not there.
So I don't think NFTs.
Well, in the honeypot token scams, the token addresses that come out before the actual token
Sorry,
address,
I got connected to my Bluetooth in my car.
People because they just don't know. So like if you don't put it in honeypot.
Oh yeah, she's gone. Yeah, I think there's also there's honeypots. There's different things that they can do with the contracts. But I mean, on the NFT side, it's not like there's not rugs every single day. It's not any different. Like it's the same thing. Like go ahead, Nico. Or I think it was NK, then Nico and Death.
Yeah, just real quick. The I don't think people actually understand how interconnected crypto and NFTs actually are. And it should go without saying, but because the space is new, like the depth of association of concepts is also new for people. So NFTs being dead, like I've heard that sentiment throughout the week and everything. But that stuff kind of makes me laugh because at the end of the day, if you're out there buying shit coins, making, I don't know, like 14 cents profit here, $1,400 profit somewhere else. Either way, ultimately, what a lot of them still end up doing is taking that money and putting it right back into the NFT infrastructure. So ultimately, the two are too symbiotic, and they're not the sort of things that exist like autonomous of one another. Even when a person says that they're going to buy an NFT with a credit card, it doesn't matter because it still has, even if they're swiping their credit card on the back end, there has to be an exchange that occurs where crypto comes into play. So it's not really possible for one to necessarily be dead versus the other. And then also remember that we're coming out of a bull run. Of course, it seems dead now. You had like 50,000 people in the space screaming about, I don't know, Pepe's or something like that 2 seconds ago. And now like it seems calm. But the reality is like these kind of seasons are the seasons that actually show us whether or not this space can prevail. It's not the bull markets that actually solidify these spaces. It's what happens in between them. And that's very much the time frame that we're in. So, I mean, nobody's telling you to run out and buy NFTs. I'm not big on I don't do trading. I don't care for that. I buy things that I like. I saw this PFP and it looked like me. So I was like, yeah, let me get this. And it made sense. But there's people that do this professionally, and and people got to understand that the backbone of this infrastructure is not the transients. It's not the people that are in and out and come for the bull market. It's the people that are here consistently trading nonstop. Because if these spaces are dead, then why did Blur put away $1 billion in one day? If these spaces are dead, then how do we even have like people picking up sponsorships and things like that? So I think people got to start looking at the infrastructure. It's not always about running around and screaming at the top of your lungs and screaming LFG all the time, even though that's the fun part. But what you want is the industry to build up, and on that side is doing just fine. It's probably more formidable than it's been in years. So I would expect people. I would encourage people not to buy the news. Sorry, not to buy the hype, but actually to go and look what the actual ecosystem is. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, you got to focus on the fundamentals and not the hype. Every week, there's a new narrative. What was it before? Ordinals was like 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
The week after
jeez.
that was Nakamigos. Then after that was, now it's Pepe. And like you said, it's like dying down. Will it live on? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I have no clue. But I'm sure next week everybody's going to be focused on whatever the hell is coming next week. Who knows? But yeah, you got to stick to the fundamentals. And if you try to follow every hype, you're going to end up getting, wrecked. Go ahead, Nico.
Burnt
And then
out
Jack.
too.
Yeah, I was gonna mention like I'm still bullish on the meme NFTs, just because it's the actual picture and some of them are cool. right? And I'm not all of them, and not like to go crazy and all that stuff. But one of the things a lot of people are going to have to be careful with is their favorite token from the last bull market. They made all this money and it's probably dead now and it may not come back and all that stuff. A lot of people are going to be stuck on, yes, the next bull market, I'm going to make my money back. And it happens a lot of times. People don't even get anywhere close to where they got to. So people got to be careful with that too.
Yeah, I think people just focus too much on the price and then say, "Oh, the floor price down, NFTs are dead." But no, we're all still here. Everybody's still building. Like people are still creating. So, like for the traders, maybe yes, it's dead for them trading. But I don't see any impact like long term from these meme coins. We've seen these meme coins come and go so many times. Like I don't know. Go ahead, Death.
Yeah, I agree though, Jess. It's just I think we just hit this plateaued moment in the markets where it's just we've been down for a little bit. There's been a lot of recent rugs and scams, and people have kind of just taken a moment and just kind of like looking at things. But I think NFTs in general are of a concept is a multi-quadrillion-dollar concept. So I don't think there's going to be any slowdown with it. We've just kind of hit this market moment sentiment for the majority of people.
Completely agree. Yeah, even Trump came out with a second NFT drop. So he's definitely taking advantage of the technology itself. I know Starbucks.
Oh,
Oh,
so
go
sorry.
ahead.
Sorry if it's okay, because that was actually something I was about to bring up was the concept of how they throw out these ideas and say, oh, this is dead, that's dead. It's really just it's so easy to go and research these things and actually find out. To your point on Trump, right? Trump just released yet another NFT project, and he made this statement. He said, well, yeah, of course you should get into this because all my other NFTs are trading at over $99 because the buy-in rate for his new one is over $99. Now, here's the thing. When you go to the Trump deployer, you will see that his NFTs are trading over $99 for sure. They're trading for $215 after they bought it for $213. They're trading $225 after they bought it for $224. Like they're literally sitting there making these flips based on 40-cent come-ups. And it will never have like a bigger gap than that, because people got to also understand that there's a time frame that you do this trading, and a project that's been out for like 5-6 months or 4 months or 3 months, or one that's associated with somebody that clearly just needs funds to pay for his court case or whatever, is not necessarily the project that's going to take you to the moon or even take you to Florida. Like these are not those kind of projects. But I just wanted to throw that in there. I just wanted to add that in there. Apologies, Jess. Thanks for letting me add that.
I think that's an awesome point. I think that's a great point. And yes, Starbucks also dropped like another collection this week. So we are seeing people outside of the quote unquote, that are deep into Web3, still generating NFTs and keeping on with their plans. The last thing before we wrap it up, because I do have to go early today, unfortunately. But Bluesky, who here is joining Bluesky? Everybody on the timeline is talking about Bluesky. Who's on Bluesky?
I hope it wrecks Twitter. Am I evil for saying that? I hope it wrecks Twitter. Like I really do. Like I'm tired of Elon's games. I'm tired of the jokes that he's cracking. I'm tired of the swindling. I'm tired of all of it. Like that subscription that he popped up with. That subscription space, it was cute at first, and then I realized, so on top of the blue check, on top of everything else, on top of the people that have even lost businesses, we should now pay an additional money directly to him just to find out stuff that he said that he wanted to give away anyway. So it's just, I mean, I'm excited for Bluesky, and I'm interested primarily in the fact that they're finally like kind of employing blockchain based opportunities within it, because this is now an opportunity for people to literally go from platform to platform and not have to start all over again on their follower count, because the understanding is that you're supposed to technically be able to bring your followers with you, which makes sense and really is Web3 if we're talking about blockchain and event tracking. But I think it's going to be interesting. The only thing though is that Jack Dorsey was over this particular platform when it was utilized to abuse people's like trust, voting fraud, voter fraud, all of that stuff. And I think that's probably the worst part about Blue Sky is that it belongs to him. But I'm just gonna add that in there. But yeah, I'm actually interested in it, and I really do hope it wrecks Twitter. I'm tired of this app. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love the people that are on here, I really do, but I feel like we deserve better, and I don't see Elon doing that for us anytime soon.
So let me ask you, with the Blue Sky, is it still in beta testing? And then do you still have to have an invite for it? Because I've been seeing that everywhere.
Yeah, it's OG Clubhouse vibes. Like invite only. You add to a wait list. It's fully in beta. But during the time when Clubhouse first came out, the time where it was invitation only and beta was literally the renaissance of that app. Like it was so amazing. It was insane. It was insane the access you could get. It was insane, to have people that you've grown up like idolizing now following you on an app because they like something that you said. So there really is a lot of potential when an app is in beta, especially if it has a high density of high quality people. But at the same time, we also know what ended up happening to Clubhouse in the end. Now it's like a cesspool, so yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see what ends up happening.
I'll give a different perspective. As a avid Twitter user, I'm sick of seeing on my timeline people telling me to go to 20 different apps. Like, if you guys want to go to Blue Sky, go to Blue Sky. Why do you have to promote it on Twitter? Like, go to Blue Sky. And I agree with you, NK. Like, you guys are going to leave Twitter to go to another app that is overseen by Jack, who got us in this shit show in the first place. And the part about moving your profile, do you actually mint your profile? Like, how does that even work? Because there's other applications that are truly Web3 that you just mint your profile and your social graph actually follows you. Like, you mint your profile on chain. So that's just my thoughts about Blue Sky. I'm not going to Blue Sky. I'm not going to fucking LinkedIn. Brock, I see you on there. I'm not going to LinkedIn. Stop inviting me to these other apps. It's too much. Like, what was it last month? It was Mastodon. Everybody was going to Mastodon. What happened to that?
Mastodon was so ghetto, and I didn't understand why people were so excited about it. Mastodon was sticks and stones, bro. It was literally more ghetto than Discord. I don't even understand why people were so hype about it. Of course, you're going to go to that app and get 50,000 followers. 2/3 of them are bots. And I agree with you. Like, that's why I said, like, the worst part about Blue Sky is that Jack Dorsey's over. Because if it happened once, it's probably going to happen again, man. We know that there's going to be influence there. I don't know if they make you mint your profile or anything. And that's also another part. Like, what's with the secrecy? Just tell us what it is so we can make our decisions and move accordingly. I find that when these apps, when they're hiding stuff like that, when they're making it like premiere only, it kind of gets old after a while. I don't know if it's going to work twice, but I think a lot of people are frustrated with the kind of some of the things that are happening on here. Like, even to your point about directing to other apps, a lot of people come to Twitter because it is such a public platform. You can make connections, you can build up your business, but now the app literally if you share a link to your business, it will literally suppress your tweet. So what is the point? So are we just here to worship Elon now? Like, where's the growth factor anymore? Where's the monetization points? This is the only app that does not monetize at its core. If you don't bring sponsors, you're not going to make any money here, and that's the truth. So yeah, but it's just the Jack Dorsey thing. That's probably the only thing that would stop me from really truly taking it seriously.
No, the only and I'm going to take my statement back. I have been active on another app, which is Noster. And the reason I've been they kind of have like spaces like this, but it's just like a Bitcoin maxi app. Well, I'm not going to say that. It's a Bitcoin enthusiast app. But the cool thing, you can get tipped in sats on the Lightning Network. So that's already up and running. So that I mean, shit, I'll go to an app that'll tip me in Bitcoin. Like, that I'm down for. Do you know if Blue Sky is implementing anything like that? All right. Yeah, I'm not sure, but we'll see. Nico, go ahead.
So I was going to ask, Elon is suppressing your tweet if there's a separate link, even if you're paying him?
No, I think Elon is restricting links to certain websites. I think the last one he attacked was like Substack or something like that. And to be honest, I don't see an issue with that. On Instagram, you can't post links unless you pay for an ad. Like, we all complain about clicking on links all the time, and then we want to be on Twitter sharing links to other platforms. Like, If you want to share a link to your business, run an ad for it. In my personal opinion, again, this is all my personal opinion. Run an ad for it. We know you're a legit business, and that way people can safely, hopefully, because I have seen promoted scams. Hopefully, at that point, they're promoting legitimate businesses with legitimate links.
I do agree with that sentiment. Like, if you have a business that you want to do, then go ahead and pay for ads. And if it felt like that was the only motivation behind it, that would be one thing. But do you ever get this feeling like you're just helping him plug a hole that is bigger than he's realizing? And that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, great. So now, if you post a link, you'll suppress it if it's going to another app. And I understand that, you paid 44 billion, but why are you doing that? Well, because he paid $44 billion for an app that's been hemorrhaging money long before he considered buying it. And I think that's like, I just feel like we're all on the Elon train now, just trying to help him make more money and stuff like that. And that's cool, but we're not making money. You know what I'm saying? I think that there's something intrinsically wrong with the fact that Twitter itself, imagine how much energy you put into spaces. If all the spaces that we've hosted, all the thousands of people that we've had come through our space, if we had done that same thing on YouTube, we'd already be monetizing at this point and we would be skyrocketed. But I just find that Twitter is just it feels like you're just playing a game on the algorithm at this point. And it's really a losing game unless you're willing to pay that $5 to see, whatever his subscription offer is.
Yeah, I think the subscription part is going to get a bit tricky. I've already subscribed to a couple of people, and I know a lot of people don't even have it turned on. So I can see, me trying to support people, I'm going to end up with a $100 bill from Twitter at the end of the month. But, I'm not active. I'm not like an active person on Twitch or things like that. But isn't that the similar model on like applications like Twitch that you have to be you have to sub to people?
Yeah, but there's a lot more going on. Like, you can see the screen. There's like, all right, you can't go up like this on Spaces, right? And I think Elon is trying to implement something like that. That's why I don't know if I don't know if we should or shouldn't comment on all of this, because I don't know what he's trying to do. I feel like he's trying to do this as an all-in-one type thing and integrate it. Like, look at him. He wants to put out an AI now too. So I'm not 100% sure on what the hell's going on. But yeah, you're 100% right. I actually thought about that the other day. It's like $5 on Twitch.
Yeah, so I see it like the same kind of model, right?
Similar, but you get other things. Like, they give you custom emojis. I think you get it's like a lot of things that happen. Yeah, but it's a lot more interactive, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
you're participating. You're participating a little more, and people like it. I don't know. Because I've done Twitch a couple of times. It's cool. I can't do it all day like some other people, but yeah, there is a lot of money there. It's actually huge.
But
Johnny,
did you see the people that they just banned? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead, NK. I was going to mention that.
Yeah, Kai Cenat, who just recently broke the record for the highest amount of follows streams, like subscribers on there, was just recently banned from the platform. Him and two of the other highest grossing streamers that are on Twitch. And then on top of that, like in the month of February alone, they literally made $10 to $15 million off of Kai Cenat, and Kai only took home $2 million. And then so that's the thing. Like, a lot of these platforms, the only thing about Twitch is that it's a bit. I mean, they give so much to the creators as an access to all these subscriptions and stuff like that, but they also take a lot as well.
That's a great point, Johnny. I know you're pretty active on Twitch. Did you want to chime in? I saw you came up.
Can you hear me okay? Sorry, I switched.
Yeah, you sound good.
I don't do a ton of Twitch. I know a lot of people monetize it and stuff. I do have Twitch linked to my Degens and Dragons account where we play Dungeons and Dragons online. Disclaimer, I'm behind that and I'm promoting it. So I don't have strong opinions about Twitch. I do, and I talk a lot of shit about Elon, but I think he's doing okay with the infrastructure of Twitter, and I don't think there isn't really there's no second best really when you come to adoption.
Oh my God, are you been drinking?
I was going to say, what
Coffee?
is
I don't know who
happening
this
right now?
man is. I don't know who that man is
He
anymore.
might
I
be
I
know,
don't.
smoking.
right?
Ever since
I
he
Might be
passed the
smoking.
board, he's been different, Jess.
listen. I'm trying not to get banned over here. Relax. All right.
Is
Oh
DeFi
wait,
Daniel with you? Has he slipped you something?
I, there's a gun to my head. No, as far as the tech goes, I think Twitter Spaces is an emerging thing that's doing very well. I think Nostr has better quality sound and like some good features, but Twitter Spaces is awesome. By the way, Jess and the crew, you guys are killing it. Crypto and Coffee. Shout outs to everyone. Everyone who she never says like retweet the room, comment, but next week do it. We're gonna blow the lid off this thing. But honestly, I think it's fine also though for other people to promote other ideas like Nostr or Blue Sky or whatever else, because I do think it puts that competitive pressure on Twitter. And I think if people are adopting other platforms for different reasons, like if I'm going to Nostr because they have a better platform for having a conversation with people, I want Elon to know that people are leaving Twitter for Nostr to go do that and for him to really focus on his spaces. Like I love that competition. He's entitled to block out competitors to a degree, but I don't think we should FUD people for recommending people try other stuff. I think it's all in good. And at the end of the day, people are always coming back to Twitter because that's where the adoption is. That's where the relationships that they built with people are. So I think I'm okay with what's going on. I'm not here to FUD Elon on this point, and we won't get to the other points.
Yeah, I am absolutely shocked, and I agree with you for once. Go ahead, NK.
Yeah, there may be a one line that may be missed here, right? Remember that this is not just it would be one thing if you're promoting another $1 billion platform, right? Coming onto Twitter and mad that they won't let you promote, I don't know, Twitch or something, a Twitch stream or something. But the algo suppresses any link. It suppresses any business related. So you guys that are small business owners that are just trying to get it off the floor, you've put in your time on Twitter, you've hosted the spaces, you've done your thing, and now just to put a link up, you can literally see the difference between, other tweets that you let out that end up with, 2,500 people seeing it versus a link that you put out, and you'll be lucky if it breaks 200 in a day. The thing is that the thing that's worse about it is that these algos don't hurt the people that have like 1 million plus, that have 500,000 plus followers. They really hurt the people that have less than like 75,000 followers. Those are the people that get affected the most. And I think that there's something that's kind of surreal about an app that's literally helped a lot of people build businesses. Now in the hands of Twitter kind of becomes something different, because the only reason that I kind of comment about the infrastructure is that it's one thing if I'm trying to promote like a major platform outside of it. I don't know why there's these people and like they're just literally talking into my ear. I don't know what's going on, but I think I would have less of a problem with it if there was actually like a rhyme or reason. So is everybody your competition now? Even Bob promoting his Shopify store, is that your competition now? Like those are the things that really affect small business on here, and we have seen there's a huge migration of people kind of leaving it. But as far as promoting like competing apps, I definitely understand why he would suppress that. But I think whatever they set up is kind of like an all or nothing thing. I don't think it's something that they can fine tune to only if they mention YouTube, only if they mention, platforms with more than $1 billion net worth.
I think
Yeah,
what we'll find. Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
I
I think what we'll find is that, if it does in fact hurt small businesses, and small businesses say, "Hey, Elon, we're out, we're leaving," and people who are interested in small business content are like, "I can't find the local businesses that I want on here. I can't, I'm not passionate about this." They're gonna start leaving, and Elon's gonna say, "Well, is that hurting my bottom line or not?" And
Well, he
and
doesn't
we're
have
gonna
a
figure
bottom
it
line
out.
though.
We're
That's
gonna
the thing.
figure it out.
He doesn't have a bottom line though. And those people have left. Like it's not even a joke. Like there's been a huge migration, and he's fully aware of that. Elon has a long history of doubling down on whatever he does, and quite frankly, as a billionaire, it makes sense. Of course, you're going to double down. I made it this far. Why not? But also, he was born into it. But anyway, that's another
Right. Well, I mean,
conversation.
listen, he's king of the petty. He's very petty.
He's
He's
king
very
of the,
troll.
and that's what I'm saying. It's king.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's the fact that so many of these things can be tied to, is this really the right thing for business, or is this one of those petty traits? And I'm just finding a lot of the changes are kind of like tied to the pettiness, and I don't think that that's what this app was ever supposed to be.
I would be interested to see a list of all the things that have changed since he took over. I know
That would be
they're
great.
here and there. I like the idea of getting rid of some of these check marks. Like I think there's going to be some good stuff to come of that, and it is a different platform. Vastly different when it comes to the censorship, even of ideas that I think are stupid, of letting people on. It's a vastly different platform already, and he's had it for half a year. I think I'm not ready to abandon Twitter and FUD his vision until I see it play out a little bit more. But him personally, I will FUD until the cows come home.
We'll take that, Johnny. We'll definitely take that perspective. But yeah, I do have to wrap it up. But just a couple of things that we didn't get through. As far as exchanges, Coinbase did announce that they have a license in Bermuda, and they're planning to launch an offshore exchange in the next couple of weeks. So that should be interesting to see play out. And then Voyager, the Voyager and Binance US deal, it seemed every week it's like, yeah, we're moving forward. Then the next week it's like, no, we're not. It looks like this week it says it's a thumbs up, but we'll see what happens with that. But I think that's all that I have for today. I did need to wrap it up earlier, so I did want to thank you guys all for coming, and I'll throw it over to Tammy.
Yeah, I was going to do the same. Thank you for coming today and supporting us every week like you do, and the speakers that came up. You guys really contribute, and we really appreciate it. I really enjoyed as well the conversation on security. So just know that, people in here are trying hard to protect you equally on the other side, the dark side. There's people over there that are learning how to scam you as well. So just always be careful, and even it was mentioned at the events, be careful at those as well. Know your surroundings. Do not wear a ledger around your neck, please. That is not cool. But yeah, I just appreciate everybody showing up. I love the conversation today, and having Veracity here. That was really, really good information. Love the transparency with that, and please check them out as well if you came here late.
Yeah, thanks, Tammy. And again, yeah, thanks to all the speakers and all the listeners. Couldn't do it without you guys. We'll be back. I'll be back on Wednesday for Espresso Hour. And then we'll be back Friday for Crypto and Coffee. So make sure to check that out. I'll get that scheduled at some point today. And then we'll go from there. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I'll catch you guys on Twitter, not on Bluesky. I'll be on Twitter, or maybe even Noster. I know Johnny and Daniel are pretty much the top Noster host over there. So if you want to check out what those spaces look like, well, they're called Nest, actually. What those nests look like, you could definitely check it out. I forgot what it is. Noster.com, is that what it is?
I think so. And just know when you go in there, if you're not familiar with it, you're going to have a way different name, and you're not going to have your profile. So it took me a minute to even figure out who I was in there. So it's pretty cool, though. Check it out.
Yeah, when you enter, it gives you like some random Bitcoin themed name. So you could be Satoshi.